Today, we're in the eastern Sierra Nevadas near Bishop, California, and we're gonna hike to Chocolate Lakes, Bull Lake. So we're gonna hike to 6 different lakes. The first one's gonna be South Lake, which will be at the start of the trail. Then we're gonna make our way up the mountain, and then we're gonna hike to Bull Lake, the 3 Chocolate Lakes, and there's another lake on the way up, but I do not know the name of that lake. However, I will point it out. The start of this lake will be near South Lake parking lot right here. You're gonna see trash can bins next to the trailhead. This is what the trail looks like. This is the sign, and there's a map right here on the trail, which will show you where you're at and which lakes to go to. So this is just a view of the South Lake. So already you're gonna get awesome views at the start of the hike, which is pretty cool. So the whole way up to the trail, you're gonna get hit with nothing but alpine scenery, and we're right here where that red arrow is pointing at, right there, and then we're gonna work our way up to these lakes over here, which are the Chocolate Lakes. And there's 2 other lakes on the way up, I will point out, one being Bull Lake. Now onto the hike. So it'll start right here with a wooden board, not too far from the trailhead entrance, and you're gonna get landscape shots of the scenic backdrops of the eastern Sierras. And there is some bear scat all the way through the trail, and you're gonna be going uphill, and then you're gonna see this as you make your way past South Lake. So you're already going to get amazing views of the lake. You can see a little island over there from a distance, which is pretty cool. And I'm just going to go ahead and point out the fact that there's several peaks on the way up. You can see there's about 6 different peaks right there. And then just the lake right there. That's the trail where we came up through. So this trail is, I would say, on the harder side of moderate. It's rated as moderate, but I would say it's on the harder side of moderate. And you just go up straight up here. So right here is where the climbing really begins. So this is the hardest part.
That's good.
And then when you make your way up, you're going to just go through dense forestry along oak and pine. And it's going to be very rocky. But of course, the whole way up, you get hit with nothing but natural beauty, and that's just another view of the South Lake from this perspective. So the South Lake is the biggest lake on this trail.
Turn around.
And it's at the beginning.
Wave.
And I did bring Liz with me. She's going to join me on this hike. And when you make your way up the trail, there's going to be several stair steps that you're going to go through, and creek crossings on the way up. This is how it looks when you walk up these stairs. So some of the elevation gain comes from these rock steps. And then at this point, you're going to enter the John Muir Wilderness and just walk through more forestry. You don't get as much scenes or scenery right here, but when you get to the sign, you're going to make a left, and then you're going to cross this wooden board over another creek. This is the creek. So this creek is pretty neat, and the water does actually look pretty clean. So If you want to bring a filter, you could fill up again right here at the stream. And then you're just going to go through more rocky terrain when you pass that creek.
Wait.
And the views will open up again when you make it a little bit more past the wooded area. And you can see a peak right behind that tree line right there.
Recording.
And then there's a meadow on the way down or on the way up. So that's actually a feeding spot for bears. So if you're lucky, you may catch a black bear down in that meadow right there. And it's really neat because it does have that landscape shot you could get right there.
That's scary.
And then at this point, you're going to get views of about several peaks on the way up. So more scenic views on the trail. So I'm just going to go ahead and point to those peaks right there. And then you're going to get back on the trail. And then you're going to cross another wooden board on the way up. So it's pretty cool trail. And you're going to pass this giant rock wall on the way up. And then you can see the switchbacks as we make our way up the trail. And then once you pass a little bit more, you're going to see actually another lake right here. This is after South Lake. So this will be Lake 2. I don't know the name of that lake, but when you climb up over the rock section, you could actually get a better view of the lake. And you just got to climb over these rocks right here on the side of this trail right here. And then when you get past this, there's going to be a rock you could climb right there so you can get a better perspective of that lake right there. So even though I didn't actually make it to that lake down there, I am pointing it out because I figured it'd just be good to take a look at it on the way up to the next 4 lakes. And of course you get back on the trail, and then you're going to see this junction right here for a right, and you're going to see one for a left. And at this point we're going to go on the junction with the left.
So you got like,
because I believe that one right there would take you to Treasure Lake.
and then you got this trail right here that goes down there. So
But it does at some point loop back around and you can go up through Long Lake. But I'm just going to go to Bull Lake and the Chocolate Lakes. And then more views. You can see another meadow down there and more rocks on the way up to the trail. And of course you can see all the ice caps coming down the mountain still, and it's pretty neat the fact that it's September and we're at Bull Lake and there's still snow in the mountains. So this is the 3rd lake. So I'm going to go ahead and go around and give you another perspective of this lake a little bit more as I climb up the trail. And you can see the Eastern Sierras popping up more from this portion of the trail on this path right here. And this is just the other side of the lake. So like I said, you will get other perspectives of this particular lake. It's a good sized lake. I want to say it's the 2nd largest lake on this list, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, another perspective of the lake, and then you will cross this creek when you make your way past Bull Lake. And then there's a nice little cascade coming down to the bush. So you do get a lot of nice little creeks on the way up. There's a lot of water on this trail. And that right there is another perspective of Bull Lake. As we gain elevation on the hike, you could see it. And of course you can see several peaks in the background of the Sierra Nevadas. And we're getting pretty close to the first set of chocolate lakes. We're heading up to the first chocolate lake after this. And the first one is actually going to be the smallest of the 3 chocolate lakes on this trail. And the smallest lake of all the lakes on this trail that we did this particular day. And then you will see more cascades flowing through the creek along the brush. Very scenic shots here. Perfect for photo shoots and photography. And we are heading to the first lake. And there is some snow on the side of the mountain we're going to explore a little bit. So right there, Liz is just going to come down the snow, play with it a little bit.
There.
And we have reached the first chocolate lake. So this lake is really small, so you're not going to get a big perspective of it. And you can see all the dark shaded rocks down there. I'm assuming that's why they call it chocolate lakes, because the color of the rocks in the lake. And that little cascade coming down, we're going to cross that, and we're going to go to the second chocolate lake. So it's a nice little waterfall that comes down here and crosses it. And more scenic landscape shots of the eastern Sierras. So just be careful, it's not a big creek, but you could just hop over these rocks, and then you gotta climb over these boulders over here to get to the other part of the trail. So there's a little bit of rock scrambling on this trail. Nothing crazy though. And we have arrived to Chocolate Lake 2. So I'm just gonna point it out really fast, and I'm gonna give you a better perspective in a bit of the lake. So right here is a better perspective. You can see all the peaks above. You can see all the snow on the mountains come down. And it does give it that very alpine look that you would get in the eastern Sierras. So it's a good sized lake. And then we're going to cross another creek, climb over some rocks, and then we have arrived to the last lake. So this is Chocolate Lake 3. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.